These are books that I will never stop recommending to people, no matter what genre they read. I would push this onto you so much, I'd make you feel guilty for not reading it. So let's get started. Flawless by Elsie Silver. I've only read the first 2 books of the Chestnut Spring series, but I made my friends read the first 2 books, and they love it. They're waiting, actually, for me to buy the other ones so they can borrow them again. Yeah. Again, I will actually never stop talking about Chloe Walsh, the way that she writes her characters and the friendships, the love, the trauma, everything around it. My friends have loved me more for this. We have a stronger connection because we all read these books. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. It's the greatest duology I've actually ever read in my life. So we're just leaving it at that. Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This one did a number on me. It really did. I'm not the same after this book. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I know everyone told me to read the Part of Your World series, and I should have listened sooner. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Those 2 series. Forever and Always. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book was not my favorite. I won't even lie. I will say I did throw it across the room though when I finished it because the plot twist was just unmatched. It was unmatched. I've never experienced something like it. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Of course. Of course. Addicted to You. See, I just finished this book 2 days ago and I should have listened sooner. I'm about to buy the entire series right now because I know that this will forever be in my heart for my entire life. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I will forever recommend that. The Summer of Broken Rules. Again, finished this a few days ago, but it was perfect. It was perfect. I loved it. Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I just can't. I just finished Vow of Thieves the other day. I just, thank you. And last, but especially not least, this book, and this book particularly in Crescent City, particularly these 2 books in Crescent City series. Yes, please. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment any book recommendations. Ciao!
These are the books that I read in one sitting because they were so good and I couldn't put them down. Just super entertaining reads and I loved them. First is Never Lie by Frida McFadden and Brain Damage by Frida McFadden. I read it on the Kindle, so I'll put it up here. So these are mystery thriller books and Frida McFadden is one of my favorite mystery authors and she just writes super entertaining books. So Never Lie is about a couple who is looking for their dream house and they're house hunting and they come across a house that happens to be owned by this woman who was a psychiatrist who disappeared 4 years ago and was never found, and then a blizzard happened, so then they're stuck in the house and then things start happening, weird things. It is just an incredibly addictive book, could not put it down. And Brain Damage is about a woman who's a very successful doctor. She has the perfect life, the perfect husband, everything, until one day where somebody shoots her in the head and intends to kill her, but it doesn't kill her. She wakes up in the hospital with a severe brain injury and she can't remember much. As the book goes along, she's trying to figure out who killed her, what happened. These books were both incredible. At the end of every book, there's an insane plot twist that leaves my jaw on the floor, and they're so good. I can never put them down. I pretty much read every single one of her books just in one sitting. Next is King of Sloth by Anna Huang. This is in the Kings of Sin series. This is the 4th book and it was just released and it was so good. These are billionaire romance books. So this is about a girl named Sloane and she is the publicist to a guy named Xavier and he is the billionaire. He's like very irresponsible and very easygoing and she is like the opposite and like she has to keep him in check and basically she is like the boss. So it is a really interesting dynamic. So this book is like a sunshine and grumpy trope, except the girl is the grumpy one and the guy is the sunshine, which is so cute because usually it's like the opposite. Definitely like a thicker book like compared to the other books in the series, but I read it in one sitting. I could not put it down. It has some spice in there if you like it, but again, it's not cheesy and it's not cringy. Next is Go Ask Alice by Beatrice Sparks. It says anonymous because it's a novel based on a real diary of a teenage girl that dealt with drug abuse, addiction, violence, basically a story and a representation about how dangerous it can be to get involved with drugs and what that can lead to. I couldn't put it down, not because it was fun to read, but because it was just like very captivating and it was just incredibly immersive and I felt just so empathetic towards this teenager and her story. And next is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and this is a classic. Also, look how pretty this version is. This is a story about 4 sisters, and if you have sisters, you will love this book. I absolutely adored reading this because it's so interesting to see the different personalities in sisters and which one like you relate to the most and then which one you think your sister relates to the most. It was just amazing writing. I fell in love with the characters, like I fell in love with the sisters and I felt like I could see myself in each of them and it just reminded me of my sister and I just think it's an incredible book. I wish I could like read this again for the first time because when I first read it I like couldn't put it down and I was so sad when it ended. Okay, next is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRae by V.S. Schwab. I adored this book. Again, this was like a little bit of a thicker book, but so entertaining. I felt like it was so relatable to life as well, even though it's like a fantasy / historical fiction / romance. It is about a girl named Addie and she is cursed and her curse is to be forgotten by everyone she's ever met. She goes through life over hundreds of years and nobody remembers her until one day someone happens to remember her and that person happens to be a guy. So that is where the romance comes in. Even though this was like a novel, it felt very like self-help at the same time. That's like how it impacted me, and some of my favorite quotes from like any books are from here. Yeah, it was just like another book that I read and finished in one sitting, and then I was like so sad that it ended. I was like, oh wait, I wish I read that slower because I wanted to like last longer. Okay, last is The Silent Patient by Alex McKildes. This is like a very well-known book and it is more popular on Book Talk, and I will tell you it is worth the hype, at least in my opinion. I read this in one sitting. This is a mystery thriller book and the plot twist had me speechless. I'm not even kidding. Like, I was in public when I finished this and I sat there in my chair for like 5 minutes just staring at the ground. And then I realized I was in public and I was like, okay, I should probably like get my shit together because like people are gonna be wondering what I'm doing. But it was about a woman who shoots her husband and kills him and then never speaks again. So then is admitted into a psychiatric unit, and then this doctor who's a psychotherapist hears her story and wants to work with her because it's just like incredibly shocked that this happened and wants to like figure out why she did it. It's just this whole story about trying to figure out why this woman shot her husband in the head and then never spoke again. I think I need to reread this again soon because I just remember captivated I was reading this book. So yeah, if you guys want like a quick, easy, super entertaining read, this is your book. Anyway, those are all the books I have for you guys today. This list that I have for like books I read in one sitting is like way longer than this. These are just the ones that I started with, and then I can always like make a part 2 if you guys want more recommendations. But yeah, these are just the ones for today. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for supporting me. I love you guys so much. You guys are literally the best, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
These are some of my favourite short books for if you want to up your reading count or you want to get into reading but you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by big books, which is a real fear. You just want to pick something up. and read it cover to cover because I love doing that. These books are all mostly under 200 pages. Let's go through them. First up, I want to talk about Claire Keegan, who is one of my favourite authors. She is an Irish author. I have thoroughly loved all 3 of her books, and I'm pretty sure all of them are 100 pages or under. So definitely something you could read of an evening, of a day, cover to cover, and I feel like her stories are so beautifully written. It's a great way to just get into a book and read a book. Next up, one of my favourite books that I read last year. I just thought it was so great. This is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. And you're following a 36-year-old woman who's never had a boyfriend. She's been working at the same convenience store for 18 years. And it's brilliant. I loved it so much. It's a Japanese translation and I just loved it, and I highly recommend reading this one. It's very witty and funny, but also very sweet, and I love this. Another Japanese translation that I read recently and really loved is Days at the Murasaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. I adored this book. It is set in a secondhand bookshop. I work in a secondhand bookshop, so obviously I loved that. And it is a girl who has recently lost her boyfriend and her job and goes and moves in with her uncle who owns a secondhand bookshop, and she helps him and works there, and it's about her experience and falling in love with reading, and it's a very cozy little read, and I loved it. This is one I haven't read, by Elena Ferrante, The Lost Daughter. I haven't read any of her books, but this one seems really great. It came into my bookshop the other day and I picked it up immediately. This one is only 130-ish pages, so another great one to pick up and just get into a story set in Italy, which is lovely. And I want to pretend I'm in Italy and read this, so. Another great way to just get into reading, I find, is with short stories, and this is a collection that I really loved. It's called Send Nudes by Saba Sams. It's all about the complexities of coming into girlhood and being a woman, and I found this very entertaining and loved it. So I highly recommend this one too. Amazing cover as well. And also a book I read yesterday. Let's not forget about poetry. I'm trying to get into reading more poetry, and I have fallen in love with Mary Oliver. Her poetry is so beautiful. It's very centered around nature and life, and I adored it. I read it cover to cover in about 40 minutes because I just kept wanting more and more and more. I definitely want to read more of hers. So those are all of my short book recommendations. Those are ones that I love. Sometimes we just need something quick. We need something short and snappy to get us back into reading and back in the swing of things. So I think those ones are brilliant. And please leave your recommendations of any short books that you have loved, that I can put them on my list.
These are 10 books that you can binge in one sitting. You can sit down for like 3 hours and get through these books. And I'm actually going to give you good books, not just short books to count towards your reading goal. These are actually good books. First is One to Watch. This is about a plus-size woman who goes on a reality TV dating show to try to find a guy. Throughout this, she's getting a lot of judgment. And that makes this really easy to get through is a lot of it is told in like a script format. We have The Echo Wife. This is very short. The characters in this have nothing if not audacity. This is about a husband who decides to make a clone of his wife and take away everything from her that he does not like and has always had a problem with, and then he adds things that he wishes she has. Then we have 24 Seconds From Now by Jason Reynolds. Jason Reynolds is a really good author if you want something quick paced. It's just like the sweetest warm hug YA romance. There's no spice in this. However, the whole premise of the book is them leading up to doing the deed, but like they never actually say that. The font is huge. It's only like 250 pages in this. I literally read this in like 2 hours. Then we have The Villain Edit. This is another reality TV show on paper kind of book. It has some screenshots, newspaper articles, scripts. You'll fly through this. Then we have Half a Soul. This is a cozy fantasy, pretty short. If you want to feel like you are cuddled up by the fire reading a book, this book will transport you there. I don't care if it's 105 degrees outside, you will be transported back to autumn. Then we have Open Water. This is a new shorter book that I have read recently, and when I tell you, this book is one of the best romance books I have read all year. And what's wild is it somehow barely even mentions their romance, but the way the author writes it, you can just tell that their love is so deep. You will read this within 2 hours. We have The Naturals. This is also another quick-paced mystery book. When I started this on my Kindle, I don't read that fast, by the way. It said on the bottom, 3 hours left in book when I was on chapter 1. And it was true. Any Man by Amber Tamblyn. Now, I will say this book is dark. So if you don't want something that's going to stick with you in a way where it's kind of hard to think about, maybe skip this one. But I will say this is such a good book. This is about a woman who assaults men, and it follows all of the men's stories and how they're coping. Some of them want to speak out about it. Others are kind of letting it ruin their whole entire family. And you're in the head of all of the guys who she has done this to. Then we have another by Jason Reynolds. This is Long Way Down. If you read this book, I don't have the physical copy with me here, but if you pick it up, you'll get what I'm saying. The words don't even fill like the whole page. It's like 3 words, then 3 words under it. It's told in like a poetry format almost, and it's just such a good book. It's about a guy who wants to get revenge, and when he hops into the elevator in his apartment complex to go down like 8 different floors, every single floor the elevator stops at opens and somebody from his life gets in, and some of the people that get in are not even alive anymore. And then Swimming in the Dark. I swear by this book. Like, I don't care who you are, you need to read this book. This is a male-male romance, but quotations on romance, because that's really not the point of the book. So deep, also like 150 pages.
Here are some romance books that you can finish in one sitting. Call It What You Want by Alyssa Daragatis. We follow the main character through her college journey, see her struggles and internal thoughts while dealing with her situationship. If you're a girl in your 20s, I definitely think you should pick this one up. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I've heard that this book is very different compared to her other books, but I had a lot of fun with this and I would recommend it. Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I will say this wasn't my favorite, but it was very fun and cute. We follow Meredith and she goes on her annual family vacation. The vibes are there, the setting is there. It's very summery. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This was also my first Carly Fortune book, and I really think she did an amazing job at explaining the setting, the plot, the characters. It takes place on Prince Edward's Island, and we follow our main character Lucy as she navigates her relationship with Felix. Lastly, of course, I had to include Elsie Silver. All of her books are very easy to read. You can finish them in one sitting. Plot and characters are amazing. You really feel like you're there with the characters. All of these books hold a special place in my heart, but I will say Powerless is my favorite.
They're my book recommendations for hot girls who want to become a little bit more educated. It is a 100% guarantee from me that if you read even a couple of these books, you will be sexier, you will be smarter, and you can argue with any man that approaches you at the bar. First up is Notes of an Undocumented Citizen. I read this in late 2018, and when I say that this book actually changed the trajectory of my life, it might sound dramatic, but I bought this book and I didn't really have any idea what it was about. Really, the week that I finished it, I applied and went back to school and I got my first master's, all because of this book. You don't know a lot about the US immigration system or what it is to be an undocumented citizen. This book is a really good place to start because it is a memoir perspective, so you're getting a lot of facts, but you're also getting the personal story. Outside of this idea of immigration in general and the concept and topic of it, it is actually a book that is far beyond immigration, and it talks a lot more about the idea of statelessness, being unhoused, the psychological effects that citizenship and statehood and status have on one person. So it's very, very interesting. Next is Becoming Abolitionist by Derica Purnell. This is my favorite book I've ever read in my 26 and almost 27 years on earth. Like, I think it's pretty obvious this is one of the best written and most informative nonfiction books I have ever bought. This book is also in a memoir style, but there is so much information and so many facts, and it is all backed up in this book. Topics are abolition, policing, police brutality, prison systems, the criminal justice system in the States. Before reading this book, I didn't really know what abolition was. I knew that I didn't agree a lot with policing. On this book, and I swear to God, I will not ever stop reading and searching for content on ideas, concept of abolition and how to make it work in Western society. It changed my perspective. It changed what I was interested in my second master's. It's such a good starter. To put it with Pieces by Angela Davis. And if you've never had an interaction with a cop in your life, I think that state of the world and how policing treats certain people, it should be a requirement to pick up this book and learn about what's going on outside of your world. Like, to supplement Becoming Abolitionist, I would also just suggest A World Without Police, the abolition of prisons, and then Prisons Make Up Safer, 20 myths and facts about the prison system in the United States. Well, I hope you feel hotter.